Hello, my name is Mark, and I thank you so much for coming by today. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know that I really love to encourage and promote creativity and the creative expression and the creative exploration of other artists and myself. I'm always looking for new tools and new ways to enhance and promote my own creativity and to learn new things. And one of the things that I found recently was an app for my phone that leverages the augmented reality aspect of the camera and allows me to trace. And if you're not familiar with my tracing video, it seems to have resurfaced again and it's getting a lot of attention from viewers. But I have a video which I'll put a link to down below that talks about tracing and why I feel like tracing, some people just feel it's cheating and it's not really being an artist, but I think that's ridiculous, and it's an exceptional way to learn how to draw, to get better at drawing, and if you're already a creative person, to enhance what your skills already are, or take you to another level. And that's what this app is all about. Now, the app itself, it's jam-packed with all kinds of things. If you haven't been watching, it has featured lessons, featured artists, features drawings, it has challenges, it has all kinds of things. It has a daily inspirational photograph that you can work from. So it's like a challenge in an app. It's an app challenger. So what I found is it's just really loaded with all kinds of neat things. There's instructionals, there's tutorials. If you want to learn how to draw different things, there's just so much to explore with this app. Even just to look around and flip through it, it's just amazing. If you want to learn to draw a dog, there's a lesson on how to draw a little corgi there. What I really love about it is that it has all these features. It's very tightly packaged, so it's very accessible. It can be a little confusing at first. I know when I first started using it, I was a little overwhelmed by it because there was so much going on. And what I really wanted to do was just draw. So I went ahead and I took a picture of a skull that I have. I'll get into that in a little bit. But you can use your own photographs. You can use photographs off the web. You can use whatever references that you need. Once again, the only thing I say about tracing is trace for your own benefit, for your own education, for your own learning, and never trace or copy somebody else's work and try to sell it off as your own. That's the only stipulation that I have with tracing, is that make sure that your work is your work and you're not copying somebody else. So with that said, going into this app, I just loved exploring this app because there was so much to do. Now, getting right into it, there's two modes. There's the AR mode, that's the augmented reality mode, and then there is the classic mode, which is a traditional sort of projector-like mode. And this is where I think we'll start because this is probably the easiest place to go. And it's as simple as just finding a picture you want, adding it to the app or using it in the app, and then setting it up over a piece of paper. And so you can see here, you can manipulate the image really well. And that's what I really enjoyed about this. You can change the transparency settings so you can see my hand doesn't appear under the camera. And then when I lower the opacity, there it is, there's my hand. So you can see how this tracing feature works. You can actually see through the screen of the phone to your drawing on the paper. And that's how it works. It's not unlike the theory of a projection or a Lucigraph machine where you project on a wall or onto a piece of paper and just trace from there. So as an amateur artist, this is a great way to learn to improve skills. For example, this hummingbird. I've actually never drawn a hummingbird before, so I figured why not use that as the example. That was the daily inspiration for today. So I figured why not try to use that as the example, and I'll learn how to draw a hummingbird for the first time. It's one of those things where you can use it however you need to use it. I could see amateurs using it and I could see professionals using it, which I'll get into in just a second. So opening up the app, the directions are to place the phone on a cup or a glass or something. So I have this old glass that I have for mixing water and so forth, cleaning brushes. So I'm going to place that on top of my plastic cup here. Now you can see there's a piece of Bristol paper underneath this, and that's what I'm going to use as my drawing surface. But it's kind of complicated at first when you're trying to set this up. I don't like the way that the phone can just fall off the cup if you're not paying attention or if your hand accidentally hits it. But that's something that you have to kind of adjust to. I love the way this transparency works and that you can see right down through the screen onto your paper. I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I think that this company, the DaVinci Eye, really put this together well. Now the app is made by a developer called CubeMG. I don't know much about them. I know their motto is to automate everything, and so they are in the development of apps and websites and that kind of stuff. So they're a technology company. Now, like I said, there's lots of features. You just saw that strobe feature. That's great to have a flickering effect. You could do really slow, you could do really fast to turn your drawing on and off, the photo on and off, so you can see your drawing. There's a grid feature, which I really like that because a lot of people love to draw by grids. It's a great idea. There's a torch feature, which features the flashlight of the camera. Now, this only works with newer cameras. I think the iPhone 8 and later, and I'm not sure what the Android ones. I can get into that at the end of the video, but there's just so many features on this. You can change the filter settings on the photo. You can just all kinds of stuff. There's like a posterizing feature. You can blow out the contrast, so if you just want to get the darker parts of the picture. There's just so much to really dig into. Now, the breakdown feature I really like because this is the old posterize feature in Photoshop, where you basically break down the information into dark splotches or dark areas, which is great for tracing and great for learning basic shapes. And for this hummingbird, I could use that just exclusively to capture the essence of the bird. And you can see here I'm trying all kinds of different things. I'm trying the exposure, and I'm trying to see how it looks with the different steps. So there's so much to play with, and that's where I kind of found it to be a little complicated at first. Was there's too much to learn at first, but you know what? That's okay. I love that they have a recording feature, so I can actually record what I'm doing, and I could make a video based on that alone. I wanted to do it this way so you could see the actual camera and how I'm applying it. So I didn't want to use the record feature within the app. So you can see here, now I'm just going to get right into it and just draw this bird. And I will admit, I'm doing this very quickly, so this isn't a really time, lapsed thing. It's just, maybe took me 3 minutes to do this drawing. If I were to sit for an hour and try to trace something and get really perfect with it, it would be a totally different experience. So if I were to sit and be immersed in this, I think I would have a much more progressive, a much more advanced drawing based on that time period. But where I'm just trying to draw it really quick, you can see the result is something that's really quick. And there's my bird. Now, again, I've never drawn a hummingbird before, so there's my traced drawing. Now I'm going to try to draw freehand now that I understand how the bird shape works. And this is just going to be a freehand drawing. And you can see that it's not quite as accurate as the traced version. So I think what I would do is probably keep trying to draw this over and over and practice until I got this bird right. And even though that's not the way it looked originally from the trace sketch, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. And so when I start to break it down into simple shapes, I can see that now I'm starting to understand how to draw a hummingbird. And that's the whole point of this kind of an app, is just to learn. You want to learn how to draw things better. You want to make your skills a little keener and a little sharper. And so now I can sort of refine my drawing and draw it in my style a little bit better. And if you're familiar with my work, I kind of do this weird thing with the eyes. But see, that's what I love about this kind of an app or any kind of tool, is that it's going to enhance my drawing skills in one way or another. There is no cheating. It's not like I'm doing something wrong. This is a great way for me to learn. And so here I could just do whatever I want to and just progress my skills to another level. Now I'm just drawing this hummingbird freehand. I don't have to pre-sketch it or anything like that, because now I've drawn it a few times and I'm starting to understand how the bird works. And you can see here, for a cartoon, for a little quick cartoon, that's not too bad. Now, if I want to, this is where I think it's great for professionals, and this is where I wanted to use it for myself, which is the reason I went and checked out this app in the first place, was I wanted to see what the graphic capabilities of it were. Now, as a graphic designer and a graphic artist, this is where I would use this probably the most, because when I need to draw something really quick and I don't have time and I don't want to sit and do a lot of research and all that kind of stuff, I can just take a picture that I have and do something like you see here, where I'm just putting in the black Sharpie and then a white gel pen to add the accents. So I can go from this traced image to this filled in image. Now I can transfer that graphically into a more interesting character and then add color to it and then refine it even further. And now I have a logo for a company that has a hummingbird as their mascot. So you can see the benefits for a graphic artist to use a tool like this in quickly refining an illustration that you've traced from an image to get that into the graphic format. And that to me is priceless. Now for fine artists, I think this is also a great tool. If you have watercolor paper, or maybe you're using markers or acrylics or whatever you're using, colored pencils, this is also a great opportunity to explore the features of this, this little app, because now I can trace this landscape, which I think it's a beautiful landscape. I just found this on the internet, and so this is not my photograph, and typically I would say use your own photographs, but this was on a commercial-free site, I think, or I'm not sure where it was from exactly, but you can see here I'm just using this to learn from. This is not going to be transformed into a graphic piece or anything like that. This is for me to learn just how to do this landscape. Things like trees and mountains and rocks can be really challenging for a lot of people. So a quick, this maybe took 8 minutes to do this sketch, and that's what I really love. Now, that was the traditional classic setting of the app. Now we're going to move into the other part, which I admit was very daunting for me at first, because I wasn't sure what that really meant, augmented reality. So what it means is I put my business card at the top of the page there, you can see that, and I taped it down. That's going to be what's called an anchor, and that's what this part's all about, this AR part. If you anchor your picture, or anchor the lens, I guess, to the screen, it will allow you to move the camera around but keep the picture in one place. And I'll just kind of show you that. Now I'm just making the anchor, and it's just basically taking a snapshot of that business card and putting it in place. And you can see here, I'm just going to take a quick photo of it. I'll zoom in, and once I take the picture of it, the camera or the app is going to lock onto that. I shouldn't say the camera. The app is going to lock onto that image, and because it's bright and colorful, it separates it from the white page. So the software looks for that, targets it, and scans it, kind of like a QR scanner or something, you know, that you might find at the store, the food scanners. That's what this is doing. It's going to scan the page for that image, and once I input the size, it's going to know dimensionally how it fits onto the page that I'm working on. So you can see here, that image of the skull that I took, that's my own image, I can now lock that to the anchor. And you can see up there where the anchor is. So when I move the camera around, the picture stays in the same place. And I really, really love this feature. It was, like I said, a little intimidating and daunting at first, but once I got to understand it, that's when I really started to say, wow, this is a really powerful little app, and I really like what it has to offer. Now, this company doesn't pay me. I'll put in my disclaimer. They don't pay me to say this. They're not giving me money to promote their product. I just really think this is a great app and a great resource and a great tool for folks to know about and to say, hey, I want to try something different. I like tracing. It helps me learn, or it helps me work faster. And this is a great way to accelerate those processes and further your development a little bit in the creative field. Now, so like I said, the anchor is there. The picture of the skull is going to stay in the same place. It's not going to move around. And so I can move this phone. You see I'm speeding it up here, but you can see how I can tilt the phone and turn it so my hand doesn't get sore, and it works with me, and I'm just kind of working with the phone, but my pencil is staying true to the lines. And even when I turn it, you can see that once I hit off the anchor, the picture disappears, and I'll explain that in a second too. But this is what I love about this augmented reality aspect of it, is that there's just so many wild features to it. I've never seen anything like this before for a drawing app, or for even just a tool to use in drawing. It is new for me, and I'm sure it's new for a lot of people, but I think it's fantastic. Now, I discovered them just on Instagram. They had an ad on Instagram, and that's how I first heard about them. At first, I kind of scoffed at it and said, oh, it's just another app. It's not going to be useful or anything. But then I looked into it a little more, and I thought, I think this could be really useful. Now, if I was teaching in a classroom again, I would definitely be telling students to check this app out because I think it's so worthwhile, again, for learning, for just enhancing your already existing creative abilities. And you can see here, this is a really, it's a terrible sketch, but I could refine that even more. Again, this is CubeMG. This is their website. This is the DaVinci Eye website. Anyone can draw using DaVinci, perfect your work. You know, this is from their website for learning and creating. I do agree with all that, and I hope if you're interested, you'll check out the website, learn more about this company. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in the channel, please subscribe. I'd love to bring you more content like this, and enjoy your creative exploration and your creative journey. Again, thank you so much, and as always, God bless.